Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to a brand new episode of Boss Babes. I am so excited to be back. I'm your host, Brittany Baldy. I know we took a few weeks off, 2 weeks to be exact, but it's gorgeous out. I'm here in North Carolina. Usually I'm doing the show out in the Boston area, but I'm down here visiting my boyfriend. It's been a lot of fun. We're going to chat about that a little bit later. But again, guys, welcome back to a brand new episode of Boss Babes. Before we get going, we have a really fun announcement from our friends over at Bet Online. Sports keep coming back, so does your chance to bet on them with our exclusive wagering partner, betonline.ag. Major League Baseball has finally started this summer and is in full swing. There's no shortage of ways to get in on the action. BetOnline has all the odds, futures, and props for you to bet on. And as sports start to return, BetOnline has sat down with Eddie George from the NFL, Robert Horry, 7-time NBA champ, and Harold Reynolds from Major League Baseball to get their opinions on what it will be like playing without fans and what they called the fandemic. Visit betonline.ag. Again, guys, that's visit betonline.ag today to check out all the odds and up-to-date sports news. Don't forget to sign up and take advantage of all the welcome back to sports bonuses. Bet Online, your online wagering experts. All right, so those are from our good friends at Bet Online. If you guys are into betting on sports, of course, sports are back. Definitely go ahead, check out that website. You're going to be super excited to get going on some betting. But why don't we just jump right into this amazing interview with our special guest? We have the very stunning Ally Rahn. Ally, how are you, girl?
I'm doing well. How are you, Brittany?
Doing well. Thank you so much for joining us today. So Ally, if you guys don't know who she actually is a former Miami Dolphins cheerleader, and I am so amped up to have you on here. You are from Florida. I could see you rocking your tan right now. And I love the tan. Before we get going, I know that you went to FIU in Florida. How was that whole situation? Obviously, you grew up there as well. We're going to touch base with that afterwards.
Yeah, so I went to Florida International University and I majored in broadcast media for my first 2 years of school. And then I switched my major to PR, advertising, and applied communications. I had the opportunity to do some internships out of state, so it worked out to where I could do my major fully online. And I graduated this past May. I loved being in South Florida. It was perfect. I was simultaneously cheering, which I'm sure we'll get into. So I loved it. Sunny South Florida.
And what inspired you to have that focus? I know that you actually interned at ESPN, so obviously you do have an interest in sports media, in broadcasting, and a little bit later I want to talk all about your fun animation projects that you were working on as well.
Cool, yeah. So from a really young age, Sports Center and MLB Tonight lived on my TV. My dad and brother are diehard baseball and football and basketball fans, supporting all the Florida teams my entire life. And I took a liking to Erin Andrews and Samantha Ponder from a young age, and I watched them, grow and excel in their careers, and I kind of wanted to follow in their footsteps. I've done a variety of internships in some different industries and fields, but I like being diverse and kind of ruling out what I don't like and what I do like.
And how was it interning over at ESPN? Was that at the ESPN in Florida, or did you happen to venture off to the headquarters, which I believe is closer to me, up in Connecticut?
Yes, their headquarters is in Bristol, Connecticut, but my internship was in West Palm Beach, Florida, which was super exciting. We got to cover a lot with spring training, the Honda Classic, which is a huge golf tournament in Jupiter. So it was really fun working with the marketing team, the TV team, doing events and recaps and all that sort of thing. So I loved it. I could talk great about the ESPN team all day long.
That is amazing. And do you have any future aspirations to work in sports media? If you could pick any number one company to work for or a specific team, who would you be working for?
Dream company would definitely be to work for ESPN. I think they're the best at what they do. I love watching ESPN and how they cover different sports. Their reporters and analysts are amazing. I would love to be in sports somehow, whether it's in sports marketing, sports communications, sports media, anything with sports would be great. I interned for a news station, and I'm a little too of a happy-go-lucky person to be covering breaking news that's sad all the time, so I definitely like to stay in sports.
I like that. I feel like you and I would be good friends. I actually worked at a TV station for 2 years, did a little bit of sports, but then I also covered news stories, and every news story, I would call it the foos, which was the fun news, because there was no way in heck I was going to be sitting out there talking about somebody dying or
Exactly.
a car accident or like a murder or a fire.
And yeah, it's horrible.
So I would always go out there and I would cover like the fun charity events or somebody going to a hospital for a visit from like a professional athlete. And that's the best way to do it. Stick with sports, stick with your personality, and showcase it the best way that you can. Yeah. So your future goal is to hopefully potentially work with ESPN someday. I personally love when they do the documentaries. I don't know if you watch any of them this summer. They did a great job of putting out the Michael Jordan one that focused on the Chicago Bulls of the 1990s. Let's talk a little bit about some of your fun facts. So I know that you also are into animation. I looked at your Instagram. That is super cool. It's called Ally's Animations.
Super complicated.
Ally's Animations, which I thought was really sweet. And you actually made some animations based off of your boyfriend who plays professional baseball. You made some great little animations on him and like a Mother's Day one. I saw a Cinco de Mayo one. So what inspired you to get into animation?
It was just when I graduated and I was quarantined. I lived on Singer Island in Florida and I was super bored. And I was like, okay, I'm going to take up a new hobby. So I downloaded Procreate on my phone. I used the stylus from like just a regular writing pen. And I just started doodling and doing different things. I'm very elementary at it. I'm not a pro by any means. I took some design classes in college, so I'm familiar with Photoshop and InDesign and Illustrator and all that sort of thing. But this is totally just for fun on the side, like for friends that need it and fun things like that. It was kind of a trend. I saw a lot of people posting those doodles, and I was like, okay, I'm going to teach myself. So that's all.
It's pretty neat. So it's like a newfound hobby of yours?
Yeah, just fun to do on the side. People message me and say like, hey, I'm getting married and I want to put like a doodle and a picture frame on our snack table. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I doodle it, go over the picture. You have like a million layers. You add all these new layers is what it is. And you basically trace everything. I'm not like a natural artist. I just either freehand or trace things. And that's all it is. Anyone can learn, really.
You could probably get into even making logos for companies or businesses or even your own someday, which is pretty sweet. I thought that they were pretty cool because if you guys look at her animation page, it's really interesting because they don't have faces,
right.
But
kind of weird.
It's kind of weird, but it looks really cool because it's very descriptive and you can see like the outline of the body, the outline of the face. It almost like forces you to focus on other aspects of the person, which is pretty neat. Like you could focus in on the beard, which I saw a photo of your boyfriend that you did. Or in the Cinco de Mayo one, I was focusing on the sombrero because it was bright colors.
Yeah, his was a little tricky with the catcher's gear. I'm not going to lie, doing all the stitching and the logo. That was probably the trickiest part, but it was fun. And that was like the first one I did. So I definitely got a little better at it along the way.
Very cool. You guys right now are listening to Ally Rahn, former Miami Dolphins cheerleader. She actually is from Bradenton, Florida. We're going to be speaking about that very shortly. You guys should feel free to subscribe to the Boss Babes. Please do on iTunes and, of course, Spotify. You guys are listening to Brittany Bollier right now. I am your host. Ally, we've been speaking about it. You grew up in Bradenton, Florida, and you went to FIU. So you spent a good chunk of your life, if not your whole entire life, down in Florida. Yeah. How is that? What was your family life like down there? The holidays? Let's just hop right into it.
Yeah, Bradenton is by Sarasota. There's a show called Siesta Key. That's kind of the beach I grew up going to, if anyone's familiar with that. But growing up, I mean, we were at the beach every single weekend. My parents live about 15, 20 minutes from Anna Maria Island and Siesta Key. So always on the beach fishing. My abuelo taught me how to throw a cast net when I was like 10 years old. So we'd throw the cast net off the Anna Maria City Pier and go fishing on the boat and off the boat. So yeah, I loved it. Lots of time in the sun.
Sounds like you enjoyed a lot of time, obviously, outdoor. Growing up in Florida, that is obviously the thing to do. Siesta Key was amazing. When I actually visited my boyfriend down at spring training this season, I went to Siesta Key. It was absolutely gorgeous. We got brunch down there, me and a couple of my friends.
Yes.
How are the holidays down in Bradenton? Did you guys have a Christmas tree or not? Did you guys decorate a palm tree? Like, what the heck is Christmas like growing up somewhere where it's warm year round?
Yeah, so we still get a Christmas tree. We still decorate it. We do put Christmas lights up on our palm trees and everything like that, but it's always 95 degrees on Christmas. Sometimes there'll be some cold fronts that come in after hurricane season, but it's hot all the time, sunny all the time. So, I mean, it was cool. We got bikes one year for Christmas so we can go out and ride our bikes, unlike people who may live in the snow. But I look forward to one day maybe spending Christmas and Thanksgiving in a place where it's a little bit colder.
I like that answer. And you mentioned your abuela a little while ago, and as well as your parents. Do you have any favorite holiday foods that you enjoy eating or making with your family during the holidays?
I love all food. I'm a foodie. I love dessert. Dessert's probably my favorite part of holidays. I love pumpkin pie and pecan pie and apple pie. That's probably my favorite part, but just being around family, and my grandparents are Spanish and Italian, so we definitely have some good cooking in our households.
Sounds like a solid combination. If you were to make them a special dinner, say your boyfriend's back, season's wrapped up, what are you going to be making him for dinner along with your mom and dad?
Probably like chicken parm. That's one of the things I like to make the most. I've gotten pretty good at it, so I love making chicken parm. I have a signature chili recipe, so I do that. Love doing that when it's cold outside. Those are probably the two dishes that I like cooking the most.
Or who are some of your idols as a kid? I know you and I were chatting about Zac Efron. He was sort of one of your little crushes when you were younger.
Yeah, no, I mean, I loved the High School Musical movies. So I was like, oh, Zac Efron. Then I found out he was like 5'7" or 5'8", and I was like, that's not going to work, because when I put heels on, I'm going to be taller than him. So I'm 5'7.5". So I'm like, okay, we can't be the same height. But yeah, no, I loved Disney and stuff growing up. So I don't know if he was my idol. He was just maybe like when I was in 5th grade, my crush. But it's a funny story. The reason I became a cheerleader was I watched the Dallas Cowboys Making the Team TV show. And when I was 8 years old, there was a girl on it named Brooke Nix. She was on the team for 5 seasons. She was a captain, went on military tours. She was amazing. And it's so funny because fast forward when I auditioned for Dolphins and they were introducing the staff, she ended up being my choreographer and coach for 2 out of 3 of my seasons that I cheered. So it was surreal. And I mean, she was my idol growing up from the age of 8 to 18 when I wanted to be an NFL cheerleader because of her. And then I found out she was the coach, and I was like, I have to make this team.
That is super cool. That's almost like full circle. You're watching your idol as a kid. You sort of get involved with cheerleading because of her. And then you're like, holy crap, this woman is actually going to be coaching me. We'll hit that a little bit more when we get into the whole topic of cheerleading. Sure. But I think that is super amazing that you were able to work alongside your childhood idol. What other sports did you play as a kid? Obviously, you probably were involved with gymnastics and cheerleading starting from a young age, but did you play softball, field hockey, soccer, anything else as a child?
For fun, I did, but no, I did ballet for 11 years, and I sang opera for 5 years.
That's interesting.
House. So I was in plays and always in dance and cheer, and then I started cheering in high school, and I was on varsity for 4 years, which was so much fun. So yeah, I've been dancing since I was 3. And I mean, I love playing basketball and football outside. I have something pinned at the top of my Twitter of me throwing a football. My dad and I used to throw footballs all the time. So a lot of fun, but it was all dance and the arts and singing and acting and all that sort of thing when I was growing up.
Very cool. So it sounds like you stayed very active. I love the fact that you were a dancer. Obviously that helped out with the professional cheerleading, of course. And some of your favorite things that you enjoyed doing as a kid and currently now, fun facts, you like to travel, go fishing, which you just talked about a little bit earlier, growing up in Florida, and also you love to cook. So I wanted to ask you, do you prefer lake or ocean fishing?
Probably ocean. Like I love going to the Keys and catching dolphin, mahi-mahi. I love catching stuff like that. You can catch really big fish. It's fun to like fish in rivers and lakes and stuff to catch trout and whatnot. But I think saltwater fishing would have to be my favorite for sure.
What was the biggest fish that you have ever caught? Do you actually weigh the fish out or no?
So I hooked a tarpon once, and that was probably the most fun, like trying to reel it in, but I lost it when it got close to the boat. I mean, you fight tarpon for hours. You have to like go with the boat with them because they'll rip the line. And so I ended up losing it when it got close to the boat. But it was a huge tarpon for sure.
Sounds like it was really big. Too bad you didn't have any photos of it because I could have.
I don't have.
You threw it up on Instagram.
Who knows? No, I'm just kidding.
No, we totally believe you. As far as dishes, I know you already talked about making Spanish dishes and also Italian. You like to make chicken parm and whatnot and chili. What are some of your other favorite dishes that you enjoy cooking, whether it be baking? Do you like to make bread, banana bread?
I love
make chicken.
Bread is like 2020. Everyone's made banana bread in 2020 during this quarantine. I actually have not made banana bread yet. I bought some, but I haven't made it. Anything Spanish and Italian food. So I love like ropa vieja is another dish I make that's Spanish. I love making like shrimp scampi. Anything with pasta and bread is right up my alley. So
very cool. And obviously having that Latin background, can you do a little salsa? Do you and the man go out and do some dancing together sometimes?
No, we can definitely dance together sometime. I'd love that. I can salsa a little bit. When I cheered, we actually were the first team to host international auditions. So the Dolphins went to 5 different countries: Colombia, Argentina, Mexico. So we actually represented 9 different countries on our team. We were probably still are the most diverse team in the NFL, which is something that's really awesome, especially in a place like Miami where it's such a melting pot of people. So we had girls from all over the world that taught us how to salsa and how to cha-cha and different Spanish desserts to make. So it was a really fun experience.
So you were speaking a little bit about the traveling, and I know that you yourself love to travel. What are some of your favorite places that you like to travel, whether it be currently or you with your family when you were younger? And then in the future, where would you like to go?
Currently, I'm not traveling at all.
Because currently, none of us are traveling right now.
Currently, all of our vacation plans have completely gone out the window. But
out the window.
Yeah. Favorite places I've been, Bruges, Belgium was definitely at the top of my list. When you walk in Bruges, I was there during Christmas time. All the Christmas markets were set up. It was cold and eerie. There was a ice rink set up, and it's like you're stepping into a storybook. It's absolutely incredible. I love London. I've been to London like 3 times. Places I'd love to go in the future. I'd actually, in the United States, I'd love to go to Lake Tahoe.
I talk about Tahoe all the time.
On my list. Yeah, I'm like, I really want to go to Lake Tahoe. I see like the girls paddle boarding with those huge rocks underneath the crystal clear water, and I'm like, I need that for my Instagram.
You have to ask my boyfriend about it after. I talk about Tahoe at least once a week. So if you guys want to do a double date there someday,
yeah,
or rent a lake house, like I'm so down. I would love to go there. There in Australia are probably my 2 tops.
Yeah. And I'd love to go to France and go to some vineyards in France and drink wine. I love wine. So I'd love to go to France and drink some wine. And I'd love to visit Asturias, Spain, which is outside of Madrid. That's where my grandfather is from. So that's another place on my list.
Very cool. Those are all excellent places to go visit. I love that Tahoe is on there.
Yeah.
I think does it actually get cold there in the wintertime? I'm not sure.
I literally have no idea.
I don't either. I just know that the ocean or the lake, I guess, is like clear. It looks like an ocean. It
clears water
in your mind.
Exactly. So on my list.
Definitely on the list. You guys right now listening to Ally Rahn, former NFL cheerleader. We're going to be talking about that very briefly. Before we get into that, obviously you guys should subscribe to us on iTunes and Spotify. You guys are now listening to Brittany Baldy. And I just want to give a shout out to Yakawala because he is absolutely amazing. He actually did a really great custom intro for the Boss Babes podcast. So shout out to Yakawala. You guys can listen to his music on Spotify and iTunes. I also want to give a quick shout out to Halio Athletica. You guys hear me talk about them all the time. Halio LA. Again, it's HALIOLA.com. Their clothing is super cool. I actually wore one of their outfits the other day. I was going hiking. We took our dog out. So many people were commenting on it. They have bright colors. They have dark colors. They just came out with shorts and tank tops. They have everything imaginable for sports gear. So again, HalioLA.com. Please give them a look if you are into being sporty and athletic. Also, Sam Yee, good friend of mine. He's a professional golfer. He has these really cool UV protective sleeves that are super amazing. They are different colors. They come in white, black, red, royal blue, all types of great colors. You guys should check out. Again, it's Sam Yee, and his brand is Store Yee. So it's STORYI. He has a website. If you guys are interested, check out that brand. Again, UV protective sleeves. They're great if you're hiking, golfing, throwing a baseball around, anything that you're doing active. If you want to keep your skin nice and clear and protective of the sun, please check out his brand. We're going to switch back in with our special guest. Ally, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
You are back. So I know we've touched lightly upon cheerleading, so let's jump right back into that. You obviously are a professional dancer and cheerleader. Paint the picture of what it was like. I feel like once you're a professional cheerleader, you always have that in you. What was it like as a kid, being a dancer, getting into cheerleading? Sort of paint that picture of what it was like being a young athlete.
Yeah, so did ballet for 11 years, like I said. And then once I realized I did not have good turnout and I was not going to be a prima ballerina, I was like, okay, I need to take up something else. So I started cheerleading in high school, and I made varsity, which was awesome my freshman year. But cheering on the sidelines in high school is definitely a lot different than cheering in the NFL or dancing. They call us cheerleaders, but we definitely do a lot of dancing. There's a few teams that do, I think the Baltimore Ravens do stunting and stuff, but we wear like 2 to 3 inch go-go boots basically. And we're dancing the entire game, before the game, at appearances, all sorts of things. I remember going to my first prep class for Dolphins, and I was lost. I was so bad. My hair was in my face. They were like, maybe next year. And then I went back 8 prep classes in a row. My mom drove me every Wednesday night. It was 4 hours away from where I live to South Miami, where the training facility is. And yeah, I made it the day after my prom, which was awesome. So
That's pretty amazing. So you did jump right into becoming a Miami Dolphins cheerleader. And what were some of your fondest memories while being a cheerleader? Obviously, pro. You did a lot of charity events, which we're going to talk about after. But did you have any great memories? Did you have any favorite matchups that you can remember? Where did you travel to?
yeah, so one of my favorite memories was on my 21st birthday, and so I'm 22 now. So a couple of years ago, it was December 9th. We had a game against the Patriots. Obviously, we're in their division, so we play them every year. And we
That's
actually,
our team.
yeah, we actually beat them 2 out of the 3 years that we play them at home. And so for some reason, I don't know if it's because it's hot, I don't know, but it was funny how we beat them at home sometimes. And we were down a touchdown. There was 7 seconds left in the game. It's now called the Miami Miracle. And basically we played a game of pot potato, and we ended up beating the Patriots last 7 seconds of the game on my 21st birthday. That was definitely one of the coolest memories. I remember lots of fans were leaving, and then that started happening, and everyone came back, and everyone was screaming and cheering, and it was really funny. And I mean, we were like running, touching the fans' arms, which we never do. We always like have a very strict how we stay on the field, but everyone was kind of going crazy. Great memory. And travel wise, we don't travel with the team because every team has their own cheerleaders. There's about 6 or 7 teams in the NFL that don't. The Steelers don't. But yes, we don't travel with the team for away games. When they're at away games, we have appearances at like our different sponsors, or we'll go to hospitals and like watch the game with patients, which is really fun, which we can touch on later too. But we did travel to military tours, and that was definitely my favorite part of being a cheerleader. That something I didn't think I was going to get to do before I made the team. I thought we would just be cheering along the sidelines. Once I made the team my rookie year, I was one of the 2 rookies along with 6 other veterans that were invited to go on a military tour. And we went to 5 countries over Christmas for 3 weeks. And it was the most incredible experience. I went on 4 military tours during my 3 seasons. And I think I went to 14 countries. So that was definitely overwhelming, to say the least, to shake the hands of the servicemen and women that fight for us every day.
That is pretty amazing that you guys are so involved, even though you're not traveling away with the team. While you guys are home, it sounds like you are very actively involved within the community. And I'm assuming that you guys traveled were you a part of the calendar shoot? Because I'm friends with a lot of the New England Patriots cheerleaders. They go to really cool places.
Yes.
What was your experience like shooting for the calendar?
Yeah, so my rookie year, I was actually still in high school when I made the team. So I kind of did online classes my last month and a half of high school, and I would drive to Miami after school on Mondays, go to practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, drive back at like 4 a.m. on Fridays to go to high school so I wouldn't get truancy for missing so much school. And I had to talk to like downtown and the administrators and everyone to like try to work with me. And it was really cool because like a week and a half before my graduation for high school, I remember our senior director, Dory Grogan, who's amazing, pulled me aside with another rookie. I think there was like 4 rookies total that ended up going. And she was like, "Hey, Ally, like, do you have your passport?" And I was like, "Yes, ma'am." And she was like, "When's your high school graduation?" I was like, "Next Saturday." She's like, "Do you mind missing it?" And I was like, "Nope." And I went on our calendar shoot to Barbados as a rookie, and it was amazing. We went for a couple weeks, and that was incredible. Going into my second year, we kind of changed what we did, and we did something called the annual. And instead of just having a typical 12-month calendar, we had like 100-page booklet that was like the size, like something you would put on a coffee table. And we had every single girl, every veteran with no makeup on, in a black and white picture, and then like a background story about them. And it was lifestyle, fitness, swimsuit, to kind of show a different side of us and to be a little more authentic. So I got to go on all 3 shoots, which was amazing. One year we went on a cruise to Puerto Rico and St. Martin and the Bahamas. Another years we kind of explored the Keys because that's after Hurricane Irma hit. So we kind of made our stops in the Keys, and we're trying to give back to the Keys after the hurricane. So
that's pretty neat that you were able to travel and be a part of the calendar at such a young age. And I think it's pretty neat that you decided to give up doing some high school stuff to be a part of that as well. So I would ask,
high school graduation, Miami Dolphins Cheer calendar shoot. Okay. Yeah.
Sounds like a pretty easy choice. I wanted to ask you too, are you guys allowed to pick out your outfits when it comes to the calendar, or do you have people that dress you? What were some of your favorite outfits that you wore? I'm assuming that you were probably in swimsuit.
Yeah, so we had an amazing cheerleading coordinator named Ariana. She's amazing. And we had sponsors for swimsuits. So like Luli Fama and Meglis Swim. There was all different swimwear lines that would donate or give us bathing suits. And then they were recognized and showcased in the calendar. So they picked out, different styles of bikinis, different colors that would look best on our skin tone for everyone. We had a huge calendar day where everyone would try on all these different swimsuits, and each of us would get like between 3 and 6 swimsuits to shoot. And they gave us everything from earrings to bracelets, what our hair was going to look like. We had the most incredible hair and makeup team. The lady that did my makeup, I want her to do my wedding makeup one day. She made our eyes look like the sunset. Her name's Judy. She was amazing. So yeah, they picked out everything for us, how our makeup was going to be, what eyeshadow color we were going to have. All we had to do is say, yes, ma'am.
Sounds like you had a great time cheerleading,
Yes.
obviously with the Miami Dolphins cheerlead team. Let's talk a little bit about your idol again, because I know we lightly talked about it at the beginning when we were talking about your childhood, but what was it like walking onto the field, having your idol there, sort of showing you the ropes and being with you, I'd assume most of the time that you were out in the field?
Yeah, she's the most, I still talk to her. I talk to her every week. She has 2 babies now. That's why my 3rd season, she announced that she wasn't coming back. And I was so sad because I love her. Her name's Brooke Nix. Her husband actually played baseball. He played for the Phillies and the Nationals and the Rangers and different teams. So, and they're an amazing family. Watching her when I was 8 years old for 5 years. And then I remember going to my first prep class. I was so nervous. And Ariana, the cheerleading coordinator, was like, now, like, we're going to announce our staff. Our director is Dory Grogan, and our coach and choreographer, Brooke Nix. And I was like, oh,
The mouth dropped.
Racing. And like, still to this day, I want to impress her. And we were so close. I don't know why I feel like that. But taking the field for the first time, we do a pregame performance, like 17 minutes to kick off, and seeing her in front of me while I was dancing, I was just like, I knew she was proud. I was so proud. And it was funny because we kind of got close throughout the audition process, and I was the last number called to make it to finals. And she totally did it on purpose, because I was gathering all my things. Everyone else was called. They called like 77 names to go to finals out of like 800 girls. It was crazy, because that was the year we had international auditions, and they were like, all right, well, that's a great group of finalists. And my number wasn't called. And they were like, but we have room for one more, number 2, Ally Rahn. And I was like, oh my gosh. And she looked at me and winked. And so I'm super happy that she still makes a huge impact in my life.
You are listening right now to Ally Rahn. She's a former NFL cheerleader. Let's just jump right into the charity work. So you guys know a big part of the Boss Babe show. We love to talk about charity, how our guests give back both on and off the field with our sports entertainers. So Ally, obviously being a former professional cheerleader, you obviously were probably involved with a number of events where you were giving back, whether it be directly with the cheerleading squad, through dance, visiting hospitals.
So the philanthropic things we did in the community with Dolphins were amazing. I mean, we would visit pediatric oncology units, which was super heavy. That was my first appearance ever. But seeing the look on the kids' faces when a couple players and our mascot TD, he's a Dolphin, his name's TD, and the cheerleaders come in, giving them the pom-poms to hold and shake. I mean, they were so excited. And it really makes you like take a step back when you want to complain one day and you're like, okay, like life could be crazier. Life could be more difficult. So it was very eye-opening going to places like that. One of my favorite but philanthropic things we did was we rebuilt an entire playground in the Keys from the ground up. I mean, mulch and put up all the equipment for the kids to play, totally destroyed the Keys. And my other favorite event that the Dolphins do is the Dolphins Cancer Challenge. And they do it every year between like February and April. And you can be a virtual runner or bike rider. There's people that bike 100 miles. One of my friends, Paige, literally did the 100-mile bike ride for her dad, in honor of her dad. And that was amazing to see her at the finish line. You can just walk or run a 5K. So they have anything for all levels of exercise that you want to do. And I mean, they raise millions and millions and millions of dollars for Sylvester research. So I loved being a part of that. And you don't have to be a part of the Dolphins organization to be a part of that. There's thousands of people that participate every single year. And that was one of my favorite things for sure.
It does sound like you were actively involved with charity, giving back, visiting those hospitals, actively involved with the military tours, giving back in a number of ways. And I also know that you someday would love to start your own charity and foundation to give back to those that might not have the proper amount of money to get into athletics, correct?
Yeah. I mean, if I have the means one day and the platform, I would love to start some type of charity or foundation for kids that want to play sports. Sports are super expensive. Dance is super expensive. The equipment, the gear, the point shoes, the leotards, everything like that. So if there could be like a grant or a scholarship or a fund for different children that work really hard, and I see that they have that intrinsic motivation that I had, I would love to help, provide things for kids like that. Yeah, that'd be great.
You would love to, if you could, set up your own dance studio someday. Obviously, full circle, give back. You started off cheering, dancing. You would love to start your own foundation. So what is that, or what is your whole mindset behind wanting to start potentially your own dance studio?
Yeah, so I mean, my dance studio growing up, my ballet studio, Diane Partington's Studio of Classical Ballet, and it was like a second home to me growing up. I'm still close with my two dance teachers that I have. It's a couple that are married. They both dance professionally, and it was a second home to me. You spend so much time there, especially when you have rehearsals for Nutcracker or Swan Lake or Don Quixote, different things like that. So way in the future, after I'm kind of finished with whatever career I have, I'd love to open my own dance studio and just have that place for kids to come and dance and express themselves.
That is super amazing that you someday want to be able to give back to the community, open up a dance studio for those kids, help out with the athletics, sort of in the way that you did as you were a kid. Before we wrap up, do you have any plans for the future as far as you going on any special dates with your boyfriend or doing things with your family during the quarantine, or how are you staying in shape currently?
Yeah, so I have a Peloton, so that's how I'm staying in shape currently. It definitely kicks my butt. I hate running, but I do it because you have to, and running burns most calories. But I have a pretty healthy lifestyle. I eat super healthy, so that's how I stay in good shape. And future plans, I mean, right now I'm diligently searching for a job. I have a couple things along the horizon. I have 3 interviews on Friday that I'm super excited for different things. So hoping that one of those works out. I'm super adaptable, so I'd live pretty much anywhere that I would have a really cool job and work for a company that I love.
Before we wrap up, guys, you guys are now listening to Ally Rahn, former NFL cheerleader, FIU student, grew up right in Florida. She gives back to the community in a number of ways. We love to have our special guests say some positive pop. So what is Ally Rahn's positive pop?
Oh, goodness. I have a few things maybe. You're the only person that can make yourself happy. So finding that inner strength and inner happiness is really important. I think that's something that people can work on and never really master, but get good at throughout their lifetime. And what other people think of you isn't your business. Do you trust yourself, show up, and do the work. And I think if anyone does that, they'll be successful.
That is some great positive pop. You guys just heard Ally give some amazing advice to you all. And social media, where can people follow your journey, whether it be on the baseball field, training people, dancing, cheerleading, at ESPN?
Hopefully. Yeah, I'm super active on Instagram. It's just my name, at Ally Rahn. And yeah, that's what I use. Same with my Twitter. But I'm the most active on Instagram for sure. So follow me.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much, Ally. I enjoyed having you on here. Maybe towards the end of baseball season, I'd love to have you come back on, chat about your career, what you've been up to. But I just want to thank you so much for coming on here, and thank you guys for listening.
Thank you for having me. It was nice talking to you. I'll talk to you soon.